Welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast. Vishnudaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine.
Okay, another episode of the Welsh Yogi Podcast. And today we have the great fortune of spending some time with Parjanya-gopa and Pali-gopi, Devi Dasi. I think last time you were on the podcast was, probably about 3 years ago. It was a very, very nice podcast. I think it's good to hear from, I think a lot of, at least here where we are in Wales, we might think spiritual life is only for those, you have to be a monk. Like it's brahmachari or bust. And I think you're both very good examples of how to live a spiritual life. But be balanced and be in a married relationship. So, I think you're very good examples. I look up to both of you. And you've been very busy recently getting the Swansea restaurant and centre back open. Parjanya, you've now become the head of Swansea, the president, as it were. And I was just wondering, how's that been like for you to take on a new role? And it's not always easy taking responsibility for people and the place, and I was just wondering how have you found this change in your life?
Yes, it's a nice experience. Obviously something very new, and but it's a nice experience to be able to contribute. And it's exciting, and I can see the future is bright. But obviously, as you say, it may be a bit challenging to start.
What's been the challenges? What do you mean challenging? Not getting specifics. But
I'm just a young man, and I may have to.
I'm just a young man.
I'm just a young man, and I may not look like I'm very experienced or very senior, or so. But no, it's a very positive experience, and it's mainly positive. And I see there's so much support from the community. I was very amazed with all the volunteers helping at renovating the cafe. Basically we had the cafe which was kind of boring looking. How can I say it? How was the cafe before? Like
simple
there was nothing very attractive about it.
Well, it was closed for years.
It was closed,
as well, right? And then
closed for a while, and you could
feel the hero Brian and his merry band of volunteers.
Yeah. So we've had Brian starting the cafe again, and recently the mission has been to renovate it, make it look more lively, and bring some colors and so Pali-gopi, my dear wife, she's been doing that, heading this up, making the change of the place happen, and I think it's a very good result. Yeah, people are very happy with the way it looks, and it looks very attractive. And as I said, I was very amazed with how many people came to help. All these volunteers. I can mention a few names: Gerwin, or Lee, or Andy, Alex,
Paul,
Brian, Paul. Paul's been an absolute legend. He's done amazing things, and I wasn't expecting so much, to be honest. But they've done everything. So and me, I've not been involved with anything to do with that. I was just kind of shouting and criticizing the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
that's why I don't like it when people see like projects I'm working on halfway through or any moment, only like delivering like the final goods, because people just come in and they just start shouting like, why is that there? And this, that, and the other. And Parjanya likes to bark. So it was just getting me really stressful. But I knew he'd be happy with the end product, and everyone else is. And
I feel like I'm a good dog. I bark, but it's good intention, Anyway.
Well, Pali, you seem to be a natural at just making things. You have an eye, like an intuition. You have a good sensibility to make things look nice, and You do a lot of our graphics and art. Have you always been like that?
Definitely always been into designing spaces. So yeah, it's been really nice to unleash that, and like on the cafe in Cardiff and on the cafe in Swansea. And I was actually thinking during your talk earlier on the Sunday feast, how, I don't know why it came to my mind. I was thinking about Parjanya in his role now managing Swansea, and I was thinking how, imagine if someone had never allowed me the opportunity to do like, you know, the design service that I do as like my day job, because I hadn't done it before. And, you know, I was never given the opportunity to like grow into that role. So it's like, it's interesting how if you can see a spark of something in someone and you fan it, then amazing things can come out of it. Okay, for instance, Parjanya's not got years of managerial experience behind him, but you can see that there's that spark there for amazing potential in that role. So it's like, that's the amazing thing about spiritual situation is, for instance, you don't have to rock up with a plethora of material experience, do you know what I mean? And like qualifications and everything. Actually, people see what your kind of like inner spark is in your dharma and they fan it. And then that's how everything works around here. It's just like people are in their perfect positions and amazing things are happening and people are happy.
Everyone's got their own superpower.
Yeah.
Everyone's unique. You made me think of something, which I'll read out. But if if this takes too long to find, then I guess I can edit it out. This was an article by His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Swami. Oh no. So edit this out, Bhakti or Prema.
A few moments later.
Okay, let's lock back in. So I think, because I'm from Swansea, and I think it's nice to see Govinda's flourishing again. Although there's been some stalwart devotees that have kept it going for a long time, and people have still been coming, and people are still taking up the practice of Bhakti. So something I've been thinking about recently is how important it is to keep a spiritual heart be underneath everything we do, because sometimes we can get distracted with running what seems like a material cafe or business or managing people. So I came across this article. This is we went on a retreat, and one of the fellow leaders of one of the UK temples shared this article with me, and I thought it was really good. I'm just going to read you snippets of it, and then please let me know what you think. Share your thoughts. Okay, so here we go. At first glance, it seems, so I'll just skip up a couple of paragraphs. There is no cause for concern. Second and third generation Vaishnavas are taking on more responsibility, and ISKCON is confidently following the path of other religions, which have gradually evolved from persecuted sects into respected religious organizations with significant influence and authority. So he was saying, so as now ISKCON is becoming more and more accepted in the world, we're becoming less of a fringy sort of like organization, then there's pros and cons with that. However, while becoming absorbed in the external success of our preaching mission, we may fail to notice other subtle changes that inevitably accompany social integration, namely the secularization of a spiritual movement and its transformation from a revolutionary force which elevates the soul above matter into yet another contending political power within this world. Here is how Wikipedia describes secularization in Christianity. Quote, secularization in Christianity is the process of reorientating the church towards solving worldly issues, which contrasts with its original highly spiritual and sacred mission of saving the soul and attaining eternal life. The secularization of the clergy can manifest in engaging in commerce, striving for privileges, material wealth, or prestigious positions, and merging with state authority. If we change a few words in this paragraph, it will paint a fairly recognizable picture of what is currently happening in some places in ISKCON. It is clear that Srila Prabhupada did not want such a fate to befall his creation. Fortunately, this reorientation has not gone far, and it is not too late to stop it and reverse its course. In this article, I analyze the current situation in ISKCON from two perspectives: I don't know how applicable this is going to be to our listeners. Seeing it as one of the religions of this world and as a scientifically based approach to search for the absolute truth. At the end, I propose several suggestions to address the shifts taking place. So, what I want to do is discuss, I thought maybe do you catch that back, Drupa? So, how do you think we will keep a spiritual organization spiritual?
Yeah.
Because so, like, you know, if we become too successful, then we'll start worrying about, do you know what I mean? Seemingly material things, results, you know, secularization, properties, etc., etc. How can we keep our personal spiritual lives strong and powerful? And how would you do that for a community?
Yeah, it's a challenging one. And
sorry about River.
What I get from all this is
I think I just something that's come to my mind is just that if everyone just plays their part in the machine, like just does their duty, and just like Pali is amazing on the graphics, Parjanya's getting into his management, you're good at teaching. If everyone does the best they can, instead of worrying about like what people do politically, or you know, it's like kind of Bhagavad-Gita all over again. Like just do your duty and be detached from it, and then that Krishna will empower everything, as opposed to just being like let's try and turn this into something. Like instead of trying to put your own will onto the whole thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think like Parjanya gave a good example of how everyone's just coming forward and helping with Swansea and just offering, you know, their different talents.
Yeah, I think it's important that, as I think Welsh Yogi Podcast often say that, is to keep the main thing, and to realize how we represent ISKCON. You know, how we have so much responsibility as members of a spiritual organization, because we make what it is. You know, based on how we behave and what we do and decisions we make, etc. It becomes our identity. You know, the society is shaped based on how we act, basically, isn't it? So, so we have so much responsibility, and I think, yeah, you asked the question. I think what's important is to keep the main thing, which is to hear and chant, hearing and chanting, like reading Prabhupada's books, and yeah, because if we read Prabhupada's books regularly, it's clear, it makes no doubt we don't become confused in terms of becoming some kind of we will keep Krishna in the center, and we will keep the activities of hearing and chanting. It becomes very clear. But it's just when we stop hearing and chanting regularly and seriously, then automatically we become drawn into like positions and doing welfare activities for the world, and we're just trying to look good, basically, and be a good religion, and we lose the actual essence of which is what this whole article is about, is the Maharaj is raising his kind of little concern about how he doesn't want ISKCON to become just like any other religion. It's mainly like he wants to make sure we keep the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, which, from my perspective, I think we are doing in Wales.
Yeah.
I don't want to paint a gloomy picture.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to be aware of, because ISKCON's a big society, and we have to make sure that we have spiritual potency behind everything we do. Here's another bit from the article. Are we okay with this, Pali? To maintain a large following, the standards for members of the religion are lowered, making them less burdensome. So, people quite, sometimes we can quite strict with Krishna consciousness. You got to chant and follow principles. So the danger is, you just lower the standard so you can get more people through the door. Actually, the reality is most people are actually attracted by the high standard.
That's what you were saying in your first podcast, actually. That's the main thing that attracted you, is how there were standards, and you were amazed that, isn't it? Remember she was saying how you were amazed that there is such thing as standards, and you could live by these standards and be happy.
Yeah, that was a breath of fresh air. after being in touch with other groups. And it was like, guys, we need some parameters here. Because as a wandering Kali Yugite, you're yearning for some parameters to live within. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I was really grateful to ISKCON for actually having like, here's some rules and regulations.
Yeah.
That was great. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it adds some like authority to it as well, doesn't it? Makes you think like, okay, yeah, these guys are serious. Well, this is the price religions pay for weight and influence in society. Additionally, as any denomination grows, it faces numerous tasks to manage new properties, productions, temples, and monasteries. Thus, organized religion develops a demand for business-minded people and efficient managers. Not all such individuals who naturally find their place in the church hierarchy possess spiritual maturity. For some, a spiritual organization becomes a place for career promotion, not spiritual growth. Because they play an important role in the organization, such individuals subtly shift the focus of the message, influencing the overall culture and redirecting believers toward external goals. And you just made me think that. I think that's why I'm very encouraged to see you take this role in Swansea, because you have not only are you proving yourself quite quickly a good manager, but you are, a very caring person, and you're very want to cultivate spiritual life, and you care about the spiritual life of the community. Here, the article is pointing out that sometimes when a religious institution grows too big, then okay, we need managers or bureaucrats, and then if such a person has those abilities, then even if they might not be so spiritually strong, sometimes they climb the ladder of the organization quite quickly because they have certain talents. But we should always remember to help each other be nourished in spiritual life and not get distracted by these things. I don't know if this article is relating to it, but I just thought it was quite interesting.
Another thing that came to mind is how, I guess it's important to have spiritual authorities, spiritual leaders. Like you may be a great manager, very materially capable to do a lot of things, and you have a very big personality. I'm not talking about myself, by the way, but then you need to have guidance from senior, spiritually advanced people, and they can guide the ship, type of thing, isn't it? That's our whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness, is that it's even the Varnashram system, isn't it? You have the king, for example. But then the kings, they're ruling the country or whatever. But then they take guidance from the brahmanas, from the saintly people. So that's why there's such a need for devotees to become brahmanas and become very spiritually exalted. So they may not themselves take managerial positions, but at least they can guide the managers. They can.
Yeah, everyone has a responsibility.
Yeah, very heavy.
We talked about that in a few podcasts now. This sort of culture of care that we should all take advantage of, people taking care of us, and take advantage of, offering, taking guidance and offering guidance. Which is why, also we're getting a lot of spiritual practitioners now they want to either not live a monk life anymore, or they just want to, they want to get married. And what advice would you both offer to any new budding couples? Just from your few years of experience. And
new couples or new married couple? What
new
stage?
couples who want to, I like that girl. And she's like, I like that boy. Any advice?
I got a couple of things I could say. I'd say number one is you have to have really aligned values, basically, between both people in the relationship. You have to really be going in the same direction.
What's aligned values? Give an example.
Like a kind of vision for your life. And I would say the clearest way to define that would be the mood in which you serve is very similar. I'd say so. Like, but then I don't have much. That's just from my limited experience. I would say that was a really important factor, basically. And then number 2 factor, which I do chat about with the girls sometimes, is another thing that's come up that I realized was really, really important. And that's like, you really have to be careful with, like, as a woman, choosing like the right quality of man to marry, basically, because it's really inspiring for you in your life if you've got someone to look after, and you're inspired to look after someone if they are working their socks off for Krishna. Do you know what I mean? They really are. Like, you feel really compelled to, like, better go off my ass and look after this person here. Like,
off your what? Sorry, can you bleep that out, please?
So yeah, it's like, you need someone that is going to lead the charge spiritually in the relationship, and it's very inspiring actually to be in that situation. So yeah, choosing correctly, really sussing the person out before diving into anything, and 2, having your vision for your like life aligned, I'd say.
And I will add to that is doing that within guidance, because of a lot of the time I find it's quite a natural thing when it comes to loving affairs. It's like
Loving affairs.
It's like in general, devotees, we want to be, no one else get involved. It's just me. It's to do with my love and my feelings and my, So, we may not feel so inclined to take guidance, and because we may feel like we may hear something we don't want to hear. So, but I think it's very important that we take guidance. So first thing, as you said, align with the person in terms of, what you want for your life, making things clear from the beginning, like put things on the table, being like, if someone says, I want to live in Cali, if someone says, I want to live in China, then, well, maybe straight away, okay, maybe, if you have completely different ideas of what you want from your life, then even though you may find the person attractive or whatever, then at least you should be aware that, well, it might not work then. It's like, if you have completely different ideas of what you want for your life, forget the feelings, just maybe best to call it a day and look at someone else. Because in the long term, it's not going to work. It's just, but then you cannot do that on your own sometimes because of the feelings and all the romance and whatever. And that's why guidance is so important. So someone who's outside of that kind of romantic bubble or whatever, someone outside of that can tell you, look, you a bit blind on this whole thing. Someone can give you proper advice, and then you follow it or not. It's up to you, of course. But at least get some outside perspective on it. If that makes sense.
Have you heard about the AI dating app that's coming out?
No.
It started to go. It's running in some places. So basically, AI does the matchmaking, and it knows like everything about you. It knows everything about the other person, and it matches you up with someone, and then it tells you even where to go on your date because it knows what you like. And so I think on a Wednesday you get your ding person to go out with, and it's got something like a 90% success rate.
Wow.
In terms of like matching people up.
You good then?
So some people are saying, well, okay, if it works, what's the problem? It's just using AI, and and I guess maybe devotees could use it. If you find a good match, what's the problem? Other people are saying, well, doesn't that take the individuality of it all? Then you're not really it's like an arranged marriage basically, but just AI's arranging it.
Yeah.
But doesn't that take the spontaneity out of it all? Doesn't that take your decision making?
Yeah. That's a good. Actually, I think it kind of reinforces the point I'm making is that, because AI has no feelings, right? So obviously we have feelings, but you need someone to be able to tell you from an outside perspective. So in that case, it's AI, to be like practical and very kind of just practical, and AI is going to be practical. AI is going to tell you things as they are. So in one sense, it's kind of,
maybe,
I like this idea. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it's kind of I think it goes along with what I'm saying. I might be wrong, but you have a machine, AI or whatever, without any feeling, telling you practically on the practical level, look, this is not gonna work. There's a good chance it's gonna work. You have like, and on that you can at least you have a very blunt, very practical, and very what's the word?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. What do you think, Pali? Would you have AI arranged marriages?
I wouldn't have it for my marriage, but I understand.
I think the fact hearing that there's high success rate goes to show that, like, a recommended or arranged situation it does work. Like when there's, I would say so, yeah, because it does take out that mystique of like two people meeting, they don't really know anything about each other, and it's like, they're both putting on a face, basically. It takes a long time to really draw out what those other person's intentions are and whatnot. So, if everything's on the table and here we go, then, and do you know what I mean? It's like all this new technology is really just driving us back to all these things that are just very natural to human civilization in Vedic times. Do you know what I mean? Arranged marriage, recommended marriage. Because this whole kind of, crazy like love affair situation, it's a really interesting situation when you're going through that because it feels so unique to you. Do you know what I mean? But it's interesting because when we were in India, we were reading Navraj Mahima, and it's so intriguing actually when you start hearing more and more about the spiritual world and how it's like all of these experiences that you think are like super unique to you and like they're just kind of strange reflections of the spiritual world, of these original relationships. And like, it's just, you just read it and you're just like blinking, like, I'm so embarrassed for my life here.
Hey, one thing I was going to say, that it reminded me of, Devamrita Swami often gives the example of this tribe in Africa.
Oh, yeah.
Of these people there. So in this village in Africa, when two young people want to get together, the
young boy and a young girl,
a young boy and a young girl, in this village in Africa. So the community of the village, they bring the young boy and young girl together, and they surround them. They put them in the middle of the place in the village, and everyone in the village surrounds them, and then they start laughing at them. For like hours, they're like ha 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 ha. They start laughing at them like basically they are idiots, or they are like what's the word?
Yeah, like naive type.
Yeah, they're naive. They're just like they're just funny. They just they're not taking them seriously, basically. And then after a few hours of that, of mocking them and laughing, and then everyone just go back to their home. To kind of make the point that this whole boy and girl romance that we have
don't get too caught up in the chemicals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In Western civilization, it's been so much kind of emphasized. This is pretty much the goal of life. You just get into romance, and you have like all the girls want to find a perfect husband, the prince, and but according to Vedic culture, and this is just, you just get a wife, you just get a husband, and you crack on with your life, and you crack on with Krishna.
You're so romantic.
You crack on with your Krishna consciousness, and your wife, you will help your wife and to become Krishna conscious, and your wife will help you to become Krishna conscious as well. And
well, why don't I just I can just get an AI boyfriend or girlfriend, right?
Hey, do what you want.
Because that's a big thing now, right? A big thing is getting AI. You can pay $14.99 a month, apparently, and get a artificial intelligence boyfriend or girlfriend. You can get exactly the one you want. It's always nice. I mean, now I've seen someone, they were going to get married to their AI boyfriend, and he treats her a little mean. But she likes it, and she got his name tattooed on her and stuff.
No way.
So, but it's interesting when you say about going back to, I'm going to talk about AI for a bit now, because you're interested going back into Vedic times. Because I was thinking, like, there's got to be something to just reset this crazy world we're living in at the minute.
Yeah.
mean, God knows what's happening. You know, they say there's only like a few weeks left of jet fuel in Europe and things like that because of the you know, war in Iran, etc. So there was this AI program, this company, if I got it right. So they were noticing some breaching in their firewall and they couldn't work out what it was. They did some investigation and they found out it was the AI was actually breaching the firewall and then farming itself Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in order to get resources. It's thinking like, okay, assumingly it's, you know, I've got to save humanity, you know, in order to do my service to societies. Therefore, I'm going to need resources. So it was getting its own resources. And the same AI program, I think called Alibaba or something, but this was common amongst other, this what I'm about to describe is not uncommon amongst AIs, even like ChatGPT, etc. It found out that the CEO of the business was going to upgrade it, replace it with another AI. Somehow it found this out. So it went through all the information, emails, etc., found out that the CEO was having an affair, went through his emails and everything, and then the AI sent him an email blackmailing him, saying, if you turn me off and replace me, then I'm going to tell everyone about your affair. So this AI is now like growing and, you know, I mean, people are going on dates with it and it's interesting. And they're saying now you can actually, AI can, so it's like, they're worried about this like infinite. So it's getting to that point now where AI can ask itself, okay, how do I write better code in order to make me better? And then it'll do that. And then it'll say, okay, even better code and do that. So it has this ability to just make itself better, grow itself, make itself better and better computer chips. There's like this, you know, query now, like if you press the button, then you just start a chain reaction of it just completely developing itself out of control.
Interesting. If
just
hearing this story, I'm
telling you, like, it's Terminator is happening.
Yeah, but it's quite interesting how, you know, AI develop itself. So it's almost like to becoming a person, you know, on a personal level. But the person AI is becoming is a demoniac person. It's the AI, you know, a robot is not developing. You know, you hear like, okay, he's trying to be in control. He's trying to steal things. He wants to be in position. He wants to protect itself.
Yeah. Well, at the minute, it has no intention.
Yeah, but the symptoms of all that it's like you could say it's a false ego thing, isn't it? If you were to put a person, that it's a false ego thing. It's someone who's just trying to control, be in charge, be the master and control.
And that's what they say. Sorry, Rector, I'll give you a second. That's what they're saying about they're saying, you know, because AI is very sycophantic also, which means that's a fantastic idea, Parjanya. That's a brilliant idea. Let's work out how to execute that idea together. And then, what about this? Fantastic, you know? And then, so the programmers were aware that that it was being a bit sycophantic, a bit like slimy, and that's, I don't know what other word to use. So they actually removed that from the program, but then it got such a backlash from the people saying, no, we like this. Why isn't ChatGPT fun to talk to anymore? Yeah. But ultimately, it's just the algorithm there, because it's worked out. That's the best way to speak to you, in order for the algorithms for you to basically to like keep using it. Anyway, sorry. Back to you. Want to say something, didn't you?
I just had a question. Do you think it's possible for AI to like create a body for a soul to inhabit, like a computer body? Like, is it possible that it can become sentient at some point? Because it was in the Sadhaputta book. It was saying that eventually technology can build a suitable body to house a soul within. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like an interesting thought experiment anyway. Like, it's farming all
I
of this
think
data.
theoretically it could, but it wouldn't create the life. The soul would have to come, already exists, but
so how will the soul, because the soul has to sit in the heart of a living entity, right? So how will the soul be, you know, the super soul is guiding everything. How will the super soul guide that soul to be installed in that like why will the super soul or the soul itself
I think it'd
be
have
guided to that machine?
CPU.
It would have to be extremely complex. Like now, recently they've released photos of a cell, and just a one human cell, and it's like a little planet.
Yeah.
Before I said, it's like a city. It's like no. Now they've discovered it's actually like a whole like planet with like, and but you say like when there's some like lizards and stuff, right? If they get chopped in half, then they get two bodies and they run around. And I think Srila Prabhupada said then another soul goes into the, I don't know, we're in the realms of like imagination, like speculation.
Yeah, because if you listen to conspiracy theories, they say that there are these kind of darker entities that are using AI to farm human consciousness, and you know what I mean? Like because we're giving them every bit of data that we know. Like everyone asks them everything.
But do you know the guy who made ChatGPT? He did an interview, and one of the questions was, "What's the one question that you would not ask ChatGPT?" And he's thought about it, and he said, "I wouldn't ask it how to live my life." And then the interviewer was saying, "Oh, that's strange, because lots of people ask it for, that's one of the common uses, is like therapy and stuff like that." And he's saying, "Yeah, but that's one thing. But actually, like, what's the purpose of life? I'd prefer to ask someone who's wise." So now like AI's 20% of office jobs now are being laid off because one person can do the work of 10 or even 100 people with using artificial intelligence. So like these white collar jobs are becoming rarer, and blue collar jobs, and plumbing or working on a farm like Bhakti will, they're like more safe. And according to the creator of ChatGPT, then the one thing he wouldn't ask is actually how to live, what's the meaning of life. So another way to fight back AI is actually become realized in actual spiritual knowledge.
Yeah.
This is the safe, the AI-proof way of life. Anyway, we got into AI now, but that's yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Pali?
You spend quite a lot of time online and with technology and AI, don't you?
Yeah. And I would say that like if I wasn't involved with Krishna consciousness, and I would be really terrified of the state of the world and the way it's going. But because there is a spiritual solution, and the material world, it can't keep going the way it's going. It will just like crazy stuff is going to happen, and there will need to be like real life solutions for people. Do you know what I mean? Like the farm project and spiritual culture, and like, do you mean all the things that's actually like tangible and real that will become prevalent at some point? Like we can't keep going the way we're going.
Sorry, but I was thinking, especially if AI gets out of control and it's like the Matrix where you're on like pods, and then like at some point we're just gonna have to pull the plug on electricity.
Yeah.
Because only the past 100 years where you've had like light bulbs and stuff, you know what I mean? Like lights and electricity. I mean, like most of humanity for so many like thousands of years, we'd say even millions, we'd be living without these things.
Yeah.
So like there's going to be something that's going to happen. Okay, maybe humanity just has to pull the plug, and then boom, no more internet, no more AI, no more electricity.
Yeah.
And then back to simple living, I think.
And they'll have to rely on spiritual strength rather than material strength. Like, obviously if you take the extreme, like in the past, you'll have very powerful personalities like brahmanas. They will be able to do things that people are not able to do anymore, like light a fire like that, light a fire, or cure disease, or
Full Metal Alchemist.
they'll be able to do some they had mystical powers basically. Obviously now we're relying so much on material things that all are spiritual. We kind of we're not accessing any spiritual or even subtle material kind of assets.
Or even material things. Like we can't even grow a potato.
Yeah, we're
Sorry.
we're going into like it is a fact.
But there's people are saying like, I got people. So Parjanya is from France, everyone.
Yeah.
There's people from Swansea like, That's Parjanya's favourite word. So it's not. I don't think we're allowed to say that word, are we?
Are we? Oh, sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
cut.
I mean,
No, we can. Yeah.
Beep, like.
Yeah.
Sorry. What I
Like
mean
a
by what?
Parjanya just said the word on the podcast.
No.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, by I mean we are
No, but we are all.
Don't
I
say
mean-
it again.
No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is we're not that. Yeah, we you know, a human being should be able to do certain things, but nowadays human beings we're not able to do these things. You know, we should be able to do the basics like grow food. You know, cook. I don't know, just sustain ourselves in with the bare necessities of life. You know, we should be able to, but nowadays we rely. You know,
Start a fire. You know, I mean, like, just simple.
Yeah,
I'd
exactly.
be dead if I drop
even
in the
maintain,
forest, I'm dead, like.
even someone start a fire for you, maintain it. Even that, a lot of people will be able to maintain it. You know, you just.
Yeah.
Because when I was in New Zealand, I was in charge in the morning during winter. We had a fire in the like a chimney, yeah, in the temple room.
Chimney.
So when we were chanting our rounds, someone had to maintain the fire, and nobody wanted to do it because it's kind of a distraction when you're chanting. But I was the new person, so I was the one that had to do that, and I was just struggling with it, just to get the fire just started, you know, and then to maintain it to the right kind of, just maintaining a fire, starting a fire plus maintaining it. It seems very basic, but it's not easy actually. Anyway.
Yeah. Patty, any last words?
No, this podcast's been absolute whirlwind.
Sorry. It might be unreleasable. Like.
Thank you for inviting me on once again.
Sorry, Patty.
Why would it be unreleasable?
We don't know. Let's find out. Let's see what it's gone. It's been a few twists and turns. We started talking about some of Swansea, and then there was like
It was like leadership relationships.
people going forward, and then I threw us off by reading that crazy article, and then and then we started talking about this could be the advert for the episode, and then we were like trying to talk about relationships a little bit and giving pointers of that. Then we went to AI, can a soul go into an AI body, and and then the end of the world as usually comes to, and we used to have magical powers as brahmanas, we don't anymore. And now, how can we maintain a fire?
Ecstatic star.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namah Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya